Today we're baking up one of my absolute favorite brown butter brownie recipes. So the first step to the recipe is browning some butter. And I usually like browning my butter for 30 seconds longer than you normally should, just because I prefer the deeper flavor. Our butter is nice and brown, so I'm just going to pour it in a separate bowl. I'm going to let this cool down slightly while I work on the other ingredients. So in a separate bowl, I have my flour and then my cocoa powder. So on to the next step, I'll be using my stand mixer. I'm going to be cracking open some cold eggs. And then with the eggs, I have some salt. And now we're going to be beating this until it gets nice and foamy. We're next going to portion out some brown sugar. So now we'll add it to our bowl. And we'll continue beating this on high. So we can see now the mixture is starting to get nice and creamy. So with the mixer on low, we'll now add in our cooled down brown butter. And now we're going to beat it on high for 2 minutes. All right, so our mixture is nice and creamy. And so the reason we beat it on high for a few minutes is this will help give the brownies a shiny crackled topping once they're fully baked. So now with the mixture on low, we're going to pour in our cocoa powder. Once I think everything looks good, I like taking a spatula and just getting it at the very bottom. So our brownie batter is fully prepared, but we'll also be adding in a chocolate filling. So you can use chips, discs, but I like using chocolate bars. So now we're going to prepare our pan. And I prefer the pans with a straighter edge just because it's much easier. So next I'll add in half of the batter. We'll then add in our chopped up chocolate. And then finally we'll add in the second half of the batter. So we have our oven set to 350, so this will go in for about 25 minutes. All right, so our brownies are fresh out of the oven and they were in there for about 25 minutes. So before we even want to slice into these, we're gonna let them cool completely for about 3 hours, but I promise it is absolutely worth the wait. Okay, so it's been about 3 hours, so now we can take it out of the pan. I'm most likely gonna save half of this and make some ice cream later in the week. And I'm just using a serrated knife to get this cut. Picked up nicely, it's nice and fudgy, and you can see some of that chocolate in the middle that we added. All right, and now for the best part, I get to eat one. It's super fudgy, which is what I prefer, but there's also instructions on how to make it cakey if you would like. Brown butter taste is really deep and you get the richness from the chocolate. And I know it might seem insane to wait 3 hours to cut into these, but you get a great reward by waiting. I'm going to enjoy these throughout the week, but I'm also excited to make a brownie batter ice cream with them, and you can find the recipe details in the caption.